Hello, I'm Rifleman Jay, founder and CEO of Rifleman Studios. So today I am going to be doing an attempt to heal everyone on the internet because I feel like commentary channels and almost everyone who calls people out ends up being very judgmental about their problems and saying what is and isn't forgivable, and it's honestly just weird. I will be dividing this video into several chapters so you can get the gist of it. And I want to make this very crystal clear. I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to morally grandstand anyone, or be this moral figure putting a napalm on everyone, or even defending behaviors that fall in the category of sin, because this video also applies to myself as well. That's also why I'm in the thumbnail. But firstly, I want to say, because there are people asking me how my relationship with Christ is going, I feel much closer to him than I was before. I used to feel lust, I used to feel hate, I used to have a vengeance addiction, anger, Twitter trolling, and all kinds of sinful stuff. I personally don't feel this type of wants anymore, or even that type of way. I think looking back at it is just weird now, especially vengeance, since it's like some kind of like pity to, like, make yourself feel better about something. And I think that this world needs him again because life is falling apart at this point. YouTubers or influencers are getting canceled left and right. I used to think that it was funny at first and satisfying, but I've changed my mind on it because at the same time they have a lot of talent and positivity in them that I just completely ignored once they do a singular wrong thing, and that is also why I'm making this video. And it's honestly just sad now, especially since it's happening so quickly. But this video is to hopefully heal the internet, and everyone in it, especially if they are afraid of getting in the hot seat. And I will be talking about predatory behavior a lot, but it's not the entirety of sin that I mean, because I do mean literally any sin of what other people would find big or small. And especially because YouTubers are getting exposed as predators left and right nowadays, especially in 2024. So let's begin. So I'm going to say first is that the internet can be extremely judgmental about anything or just any wrongdoings in general. Things like predatory behavior, doxing, lying, hypocrisy, flirting with predators, abuse, hard R's, bad music, stalking, harassing, doxing, scamming, etc. I first want to say, and I highly feel like I am going to get a ton of backlash for, I don't know why, but I personally think that all sin is sin. It's like a poisonous berry judging another, forgetting they both come from the same tree. Because we are all human beings, and we are all going to be doing very different types of mistakes in our lives, and there's definitely going to be moral grandstanding, like, you can't come back from this, it's unforgivable, it's not a mistake, it's permanent damage, put the fries in the bag, lil bro, in hopes to shut you down to make themselves look better in the public. I mean, it's literally why diss tracks, cancel culture, and hate mobs all exist, and I honestly disagree with it because in reality, it doesn't really solve anything, and I can tell you why. I think it's really a feeling of getting a kill in Fortnite, like how you do all this build fighting and you 200 pump them in the head to cancel someone, but I don't think it solves anything, and it's really an attempt to isolate someone from everyone, even though at the end of the day, they are still going to be around people regardless. It doesn't really make a change or a safe from danger card depending on what they did. I really feel like people should focus on solving the problem rather than just doing all this moral grandstanding and complaining about it on the internet. It's like saying you should see the amount damage you take in a game rather than just focus on winning the match, or slapping keels or drinking minis to patch yourself up. Now, let me be clear again for this because I don't want people to think I'm defending people's actions, which I'm really not. I'm just saying that people just need to fix the issue rather than complain about it and making them leave the internet or making all these videos about them and monetizing it as if drama communities are supposed to be normal. Like, let's say you are a sex pest or a scammer or a liar. Find ways to quit porn, make money, sell some stuff. Don't do stuff to intimidate or take advantage of a victim or an opponent. And also, just tell the truth. It isn't worth fighting back if you are literally in the wrong for doing something, especially hypocrisy. People can get judgmental and morally grandstand someone for doing something only for them to do it later, and their own standards will start knocking at their door. And I can give some examples and a sample one before we get into this next chapter. This video, Just a Robot made, which is basically a weapons chart of which sin will do whatever damage and determine what you can come back from and what you can't. A few examples, not all of it being hypocrisy, I will say firstly are Moist Critical, Hopeless Peaches, Creepshow Art, who have all called out people who enabled or has predated on a child, alleged abuse, stalking, guilt by association, only to have done the exact same thing themselves time later, and once their standards applied to them, well, specifically in Peaches and Creepshow Art are gone, they would rather just dip and jeopardize all of their work than to take accountability, because standards are like they're like a karmic boomerang. It's going to come back to you. It's kind of like an entire community would rather play double-edged sword to the maximum damage, forgetting that you will also receive the same damage that you deal. That's what happens when you apply high standards to those for an attempt to look better, but when you end up doing the same thing, that boomerang comes right at you at the same speed you threw it. I'm not saying criticism should not be on the internet. In fact, I think criticism is more than welcome to be on the internet because it's extremely important to call out those who do awful things, but the rubber boots that ruin the stew is judgmentality. I want to say this, but all sin is sin. People would rather just compare sin and say what you can and can't come back from. And it really feels more like a battle royale rather than a break you down and build you back up again. Now, people will be asking, what if they don't take accountability and leave? That I will be getting into in the next chapter, and please remember that because it is going to be important. There are people that would rather just exit the door than take accountability and end up dealing with the wrongs they did, and possibly for the rest of their life if they let it, which time being will come back all in the form of rage. Yeah, kind of like Peter Griffin reference. I think people need to take accountability if they are ever in the wrong, and if they fight back and end up still being wrong, take accountability. I think it's sickening and it infuriates me a lot. Like, I have taken many L's on the internet and I'm still here and still going. And when you leave and delete your socials, you are letting them stop you by stopping yourself. And it's honestly just saddening and angering because at the end of the day, you learn or finally learn to not do those actions again. And boom, problem solved. And yes, I will be talking about if you are a victim of someone's sin later in this video. But if you are a YouTuber watching this video and your skeletons come out and all of it's true and you're actually in the wrong, take accountability and responsibility. And I also want to say something of this that reminds me of Streamline's video of why apologies on YouTube are so terrible. Well, they aren't just terrible because they're stressed. They are terrible because they would rather save their own ass depending on what they did. And either if it's a you can't come back for this or a sub count threat or what others would find them to be something to unsubscribe from them. And then it's just telling them that taking accountability is literally just suicide because most people wouldn't forgive them. So they would just try and save themselves by lying, kind of like running from fake Peppino and Pizza Tower, just like how those in the FCK lied because they knew that covering up a minor getting groomed is what most people would say permanently cancel. I feel like it should be ways for people to actually grow and learn rather than to just try and chase them offline because, as I said before, it really doesn't even solve anything because you're still going to be around people regardless because that's literally just how humanity and society functions. We are around humans from our day-to-day lives. If you are afraid of criticizing someone, even if you did the same thing and have taken account for it, don't. Kind of like the Pumpkin the Gentleman situation. People on the internet will be like, bro thinks he's on the team, or sit this one out, lil bro. And as I said again, like Pumpkin the Gentleman, who has done questionable things around children and has taken accountability for it from what I can remember. Just because you take into account of what you've done and call someone out for the same thing, that doesn't mean you're being a hypocrite. That's like saying if I touch a hot stove and it burns my hand, and I see my friend about to touch a hot stove, then I can't tell him no, because by the internet's logic, I think I'm on the same team. And that is also a reason why I say the internet feels more like a battle royale of shutting YouTubers down rather than actual criticism to help the person not do those mistakes again. Just because you have also done it and taken accountability for it doesn't mean you can't tell someone else they can't do it either. And I don't mean predatory behavior, just that. Like, again, any sin, because all sin is sin. Guilt by association is a very interesting one because it's also another pile of ammo crates to use to help shut someone down. Like, who cares who you associate with? Like, love the sinner and not the sin. It's a weak way to try and use it as an argument against someone. Like, just like how you love your family, right? Even though not every family is perfect. You're gonna argue. Y'all will have conflict. Y'all will be nasty to one another at sometimes. You guys are going to have fun. You guys are going to make memories. But y'all are still family. Love and care for each other because you are all what you have. You will never have another brother, sister, grandpa, or whoever. Support the person because you see the cool and awesome and talent that they have in them instead of a dark closet of something waiting to jump scare you. I might get a load of backlash for this again, but I think if you are ever hurt by trauma or a victim of someone's crimes or anything of the sort, nothing nor anyone is going to stop you but you. You can't let it hurt you because, truthfully, it can be healed. Let me give an analogy to kind of support it. Let's say I give you a gift box. You open the box and find a live grenade. You can hear it hissing, ready to explode. What should you do? Let it explode and scream the entire time, or throw it? I guess a way works with poison. Find ways to get it healed so it doesn't kill you. or even a sticky grenade, if some people might be saying that. Grab it by the pin and throw it. Don't grab it by the shell where it sticks to objects. I'm going to get comments saying throw it at them, but I think just throw it so it's not around any human beings. I want to make my own take on this because I don't understand how there are things you can do on the internet that is unforgivable. I have been kind of in a situation of predation myself. I was like 14 dating like an 18, 19-year-old, and this is from my own experience. It was in real life. It was during the fall of 2019. It was like back in high school. We were dating for like a few months. She eventually asked to have sex with me, which I denied. Later decided to break up with her because I didn't think it was going to work out, especially since I knew like 14 and 18, like having sex, that's illegal. And after I broke up with her, she gave me like this nasty side eye throughout the entirety of class. Other situations of me participating in inappropriate group chats with adults when I was a minor. I don't even understand to this day how my life is ruined and I'm traumatized by it because I don't really feel anything from it. Yes, it is wrong having a massive age gap with minors and adults, and I completely understand the perspective and just everything about that. But in my opinion, like, I don't understand how it ruins someone's life and is unforgivable as people say it is, but I guess everyone has different experiences, so please let me know in the comments. I'm not defending it. I'm not trying to normalize the behavior. I'm simply saying that people are way overly judgmental about sin. There are YouTubers who have done stuff who the commentary community and a chunk of the internet would likely find less severe than this, such as this guy saying the hard R and losing everything in sensitive society, even making a few videos about him. And others like Creepshow Art, who has lost over 200,000 subscribers after Emily Artful made a video about her, or even KSI's music video that swarmed in napalm on his reputation. Prison Mate Luke, who was thought to be a horrible commentary channel and was chased offline. And others like Bella the Wolf, Kumo, Just a Robot, Frogan. I think it's just weird at this point, and it shows itself as inconsistent, if I'm using the right words. Kind of like a court system, very judgmental, and gets different numbers of years for whatever crime you do, and whatever people would find less, or other people would find less or more bad. And depending on intent and the crime name, I don't like the way it works, and I think it is what it is, and it's very unhelpful, especially since crime rates of individuals rise after a conviction or a finished sentence. I want to be completely honest about stalking, lying, doxing, slander, vengeance, adultery, abuse, all kinds of stuff. Revenge seems like some very weird pity to make yourself feel better. Stop doing porn because it can literally cause you to do shit like sex crimes and can have very bad side effects to it, and even weaken your relationship with Christ. Well, if you are in one with him. Stalking can be a form of vengeance because you feel so much rage and hatred towards someone, and this one took me time to learn because it's literally just trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Abuse is a hard one because taking advantage of others socially or financially is horrible, and someone who hasn't really experienced abuse, but there are several ways to overcome it, but one I'd say is tell a trusted one, possibly confront them, but it seriously depends on the context because it is such a massive umbrella term. People will try to intimidate you with past calls, debates, videos, ratios, losing friends, sponsorships, your own company, in hopes to shut you down and silence you because they're likely scared of what you are going to say. Don't let it stop you, because even at the end of the day, you are still going to find your audience, an audience that actually wants to support you. And, who cares about numbers, dude? Focus on the fact you still have supporters and love. There are going to be people who want you in a wood chipper. There will be people that want to take a fucking bullet for you. Focus on the people who actually look at the positive in you and who actually want to support you. Because the internet wants to scare you with numbers. And as I said before, as long as you take accountability and commit responsibility, you will find love and an audience. Maybe not world famous or everyone loves you audience, but an audience of people who want to support you. So just focus on the people who want to support you and just keep going. If you focus on the negative people shitting on you, it's just going to give them more ammo, which will then create a bigger mob. Like a zombie starfish. You cut off a limb, they will just grow another one. And that severed limb will just grow into another starfish. Hold on. It will just grow into another starfish and creating more starfish. And then leads to a larger army of poison. It happened with Dr. Disrespect, how he was mocking his hate, just gave the internet more ammo. Firstly, in this chapter, I have predictions right now, is that A, people will either say that I sound like a pedo apologist, or that I'm defending people's behavior even though I'm not. B, I also have predictions is that people will argue back and say there is comparison of sin, and that's why people are so judgmental about it, even though I just said that to just drink minis and focus on winning the match. C, people might take words of there is no comparison of sin out of context and think that I am saying there is no comparison of sin to everything. Well, that there's no comparison to everything in order to counter my claim. Maybe I might get the support from this video because there are people with big hearts online. Well, I'm not saying everyone has, but if this video doesn't work somehow and it doesn't fix commentary channels or heal and strengthen everyone on the internet, and this video gets heavily ratioed or anything like that, take a word of advice. At the end of the day, if you get canceled for anything on the internet, take accountability and responsibility if you indeed fuck up, and just keep going, and do not let YouTubers stop you from grinding just because they have larger numbers. Do not let your sinners that gave you victimization stop you from grinding. Any sin is sin. If it falls in the category of sin, then it's sin. And there are also going to be those who will be like, normal people don't do this, normal people don't do that. Just because many think that this idea, just because many people think this is wrong or right, doesn't inherently mean it's normal people. It's kind of like saying isolating blacks and making their lives hell in America makes Americans normal people, because normal people do not tolerate blacks because they're normal people. But still, you will find your audience, and just focus on the fact that you have a supporting audience, because there will always be those out there who will want to support you. Look in the positivity of everyone. Love everyone as you love yourself. Forgive those as you forgive yourself. I think all these YouTubers fading away so quickly as if a nuke went off is just dark and sad at this point. I think everyone should look at the positivity in everyone because we don't know how talented and good-stated people really are. I mean, that would be cool if everyone liked each other, but I highly doubt that's even going to be possible. But anyways, that is going to conclude this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and please share the video to get this message out there. And just do what you gotta do on the internet. Nobody is going to stop you. Only you are going to stop you. Do what you can do, because there are always going to be ways to stop your sufferings. And just keep climbing. This is Rifleman J, and this is my attempt to heal the internet.